Romo told David Moore of the Dallas Morning News the Cowboys are so close. I think the Cowboys, in some ways, they just need to go out and do their job. They're knocking on the door. You can't be this good year in and year out without breaking through at some point. I think they will very soon. Meanwhile, Emmitt Smith had this to say about head coach Mike McCarthy. Emmitt, talk to me.
To be honest, I am a little surprised, all because of the way things has transpired over the last 3 years. Removing Kellen as the OC and taking over the controls of the offense and so forth, I am a little surprised. The way we exited the playoff this year was not it was not a good look, put it that way, and it was somewhat embarrassing. It lends you to believe that either we're not trained or coached properly.
All right, Essay, I want to start with you. Your reaction to what Emmitt just said there.
Well, first of all, I think he told the truth about the coaching, about the question marks, about the staff and what have you. And obviously, he's qualified. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, retired as the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. We know he's a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan. He ultimately went to Arizona for a little bit. We get it. We know who he is and the credibility that he brings to the table. So when Emmitt Smith speaks, you listen, because he ain't going to say much.
No.
But when he says something like that, you take it very seriously. I want to say this to Tony Romo, who obviously is a colleague, is a contemporary in the business now, does a great job on CBS Sports. Where's the camera? You should be ashamed of your damn self. What the hell is wrong with you, Tony Romo? Seriously. If I saw you to your face, I would shake your hand because I got a lot of love for you as a person. What the hell is wrong with you? You, of all people, when he was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, you didn't get the job done. What are you talking about? At some point, we're going to break through. You at some point. You once were, you didn't get it done. And then we're watching this team, and we're watching a talent level that, is, as far as I'm concerned, has gotten better and better and better throughout the years, and you still haven't been able to get it done. People who don't get it done don't need to be talking about people needing to get it done. Yeah. Now, Emmitt Smith got it done. So he can sit up there and say, it's a little embarrassing. I don't understand it. Something's missing. Something ain't right. By the way, he played for Jimmy Johnson. You know what the hell he's talking about. You understand what I'm saying? It makes sense. I get that stuff. But Tony Romo, what? You can't say that. I mean, at some point in time, some self-awareness is mandated. Yeah. Because when you hear that from Tony Romo, correct me if I'm wrong, Swagu, correct me if I'm wrong, say, you too, MK. At some point, when you're listening to those quotes, you're going to go like this. Who said that? Who? And him? Come on now. Stop.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead, Shay.
I feel like I'm in the mafia because every time I try to get out, y'all drag me back in with these cowboy topics. I thought we were done this week. We're at the Super Bowl. We're talking about the two teams this year. Right. When I look at it, think about this. What does he mean they're so close? We had a topic this year. Is this the Cowboys' best chance? And I said, best chance for what? I remember one year they had 11 Pro Bowlers. They got an all-pro left tackle, all-pro left guard, all-pro right guard, all-pro quarterback, all-pro wide receiver, all-pro defensive player. You got 6 all-pros. So how many more? How close are you going to get? I can see if you got to the NFC Championship game and you lost by a kick, or your kicker doinked one off the upright. They're not even close. They can't win more than one playoff game. They're like Duke college freshman hoopers, one and done every year. Oh. You already know you go to Duke and you a hooper, you one and done. Right. The Cowboys make the playoffs, I already know. They one and done.
That's right.
And he gonna talk about they close. And I agree with Emmitt. Everybody's shocked that Mike McCarthy still has his job, considering, we're going to run the ball, we're going to be more balanced. Told that lie on Kellen Moore, and you threw the ball more than what Kellen Moore threw the ball when he was there the year before. You did it to get the job and it looked awful. 48-32 at home, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No. We're not doing that. No 48-32. Your ass was down 48-16.
Okay, 48-16.
They just piled on points later on. Like Green Bay was just laying back. Come on now.
I feel like
everybody keeps looking at you.
I didn't say
that. Well, you understand.
You in the family.
You understand?
You in the family.
I'm in that dysfunctional family. And y'all know all about it. I got uncles and cousins out here just talking out their neck.
That's right.
Listen, man, this is my problem. This is my issue. And this is why me and Stephen A. go going back and forth because sometimes I'm like, yo, I really feel like this is an opportunity for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Shay, when I said it this year, it was because of the NFC. It wasn't necessarily because they were this great team that I thought was way better than the ones that we saw previously. If you told me Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield was going to be in the playoffs, I'd have said this probably Dallas' best chance in order to get to a Super Bowl. If you told me they were going to go to San Francisco and play a quarterback for his first real time going through a playoff scenario, I'd been like, well, they probably ain't going to win the game, and I wouldn't pick them. But they are playing against a quarterback that has shown some things that you could get him. Here's the problem with what Romo talks about. Because this is why you have all this damn ammo every year that we sit on this set.
All right. They just keep giving it to me.
Ain't nothing has happened to make you believe that.
Nothing. Zero.
When Jerry said a few weeks ago, we going all in. Man, that don't mean nothing to me. You done thought you was all in since I started doing TV. We will see if the Cowboys are close based off what they do this particular offseason as far as acquiring players. Say you sit up here as a Hall of Famer. I ain't never seen a Super Bowl team. I ain't never seen a team win Super Bowl without great players. I ain't seen one, whether it be on defense or offense. Who's great on the Dallas Cowboys team?
I think Micah Parsons
great
is
players
great.
on the Dallas Cowboys.
I think Micah Parsons is great.
This where me and you align. This where me and you align a
don't
lot.
think Micah Parsons?
This where me and you
I think
align a
Micah
lot.
Parsons
You know
is
what?
great.
You know what great mean to me? You know what great mean to me? When it's time to get it done, you go do it.
Well,
that's what great mean to me.
I'll let Mina go. I'll let Mina go first.
He has great attributes.
All right.
He plays great at times.
Okay.
When Shannon was playing for Super Bowls, you knew Shannon Sharpe left a stamp on the game. When we last saw the Dallas Cowboys play against Green Bay Packers,
Let me.
who was great?
I think actually,
and then
I'm going to try to take a charitable interpretation of what Romo said, because I agree with y'all. You can't get boat raced by what is essentially a rookie quarterback and say you're close. I think we all agree that's preposterous.
Let me throw this because when it happened, and I wasn't trolling, I had a ball doing it, but ultimately I got serious about it, and I said, listen, Mike McCarthy, it really wasn't about firing him. It was about a 6-time Super Bowl champion that was available on the market that really didn't care about the pomp and circumstance. He would have been about coaching the football team, and Jerry Jones could go out there and run his mouth. But we also have to take into account something that happened earlier this week. Dan Quinn taking the Washington Commanders' job. Now, obviously, he wants to be a head coach. I didn't think he deserved it after the way they looked in the playoffs, and that's why he didn't get the Seattle job, in my opinion, but you would know that better than me, MK. I will say this to you, however. You go to Washington, and then you start dissecting some of the things that have transpired. Why would McCarthy stay? Is it possible because the level of accountability may not be on him as much as we thought? Because upstairs, you're getting rid, because you guys have educated me about the size that they let go of. You were getting all these speed dudes, but there was no size in your linebacking core, what have you. So obviously, if you get past the initial line of scrimmage, the initial defensive line, all of a sudden you get into their secondary, you can run the football on them all day, every day. This is what you can do to the Dallas Cowboys. You can ground and pound, you can beat them up, you can do these kind of things. And then you start hearing about in the locker room where you got guys going up to Dan Quinn and others, and what the hell is this about? Why is this player going? Why is this player going? And I don't even want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you're recognizing that there's so much that has been out of their control as it comes to personnel. I didn't want to think that. I wanted to look at McCarthy. I wanted to look at Quinn. But when you hear that kind of stuff that has been chirped about over the last several weeks, you see this man go out the door and take the head coaching job within the division. You know they're going to do their homework, Josh Harris, the new ownership, and those other guys. Why am I bringing this guy and plucking him away from the Dallas Cowboys? What is it that we're hearing? All of a sudden, those suspicions, Swagu, that you brought to our attention on many occasions in terms of the heavy hand coming down, choosing personnel in the middle of a season, getting rid of players that the other players felt should not have been gotten rid of, and then you understand where the dissension comes in. And that might be why McCarthy is still there, because they know he's not accountable as much as we thought he was.
If you look at the Cowboys, they have the second most Pro Bowl player drafted in the last decade behind Kansas City.
Okay.
Kansas City has played in 4 Super Bowls. The Cowboys hadn't made it to an NFC championship
There you
game.
go.
So that just goes to show you. And you said, and Jerry said, I could absolutely work with Bill Belichick. You fired a guy that won back-to-back Super Bowls, and you actually think you can work with a guy that's had total autonomy for 2 decades?
Yeah. Right.
And guess what happens, Swag? Coach Belichick comes in, and they win the Super Bowl. Who get the credit, Swag?
It's going to be Bill Belichick.
So now Jerry loses everything that he fought for 2 decades.
Yep. I'm so sick of it. Let me tell you why I'm sick of it. First of all, here's the thing. Right. We were having a conversation about great. We could all interpret that different. Right. The thing that I was getting at when we have that conversation about great, because you know how I felt about this roster. Yeah. A bunch of really good individual players or a bunch of really good individual players. Here's for me personally. You don't get great tagged to you until you go do something great.
Right.
Like the Cowboys ain't did nothing great.
Right.
No player on that team has done anything great.
But it's just a question. I bring up Micah Parsons. Me and MK are like, he's great, right? Yeah. You're saying you got to do great things in great moments. What I'm saying to you is this. If you have questions about the coach, if you have questions about the level of competency that they bring to the table, and somebody's been doing something for you on an exceptional level throughout the regular season, but they game plan for him differently come playoff time, and you don't make any adjustments, is that on the player or is that on the coach? I'm asking.
A lot of it is on the coach, and I brought a lot of blame to Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. But Stephen A., let me ask you this, because this is what I've been telling. We had this conversation ad nauseum on NFL Live. Both of these units that's going into the Super Bowl, do they have great players on their team?
Yes.
Right. Why? Because they won it at a very high level. We've seen Fred Warner in Super Bowls. We've seen him in NFC championships. We've seen Patrick Mahomes win it. Right?
We've never seen Christian McCaffrey reach this level, but I think we all agree he is great.
We all know he's
already.
But in every big game, in big games, he shows up.
He shows up.
Right. That's the point.
But did they get shell-shocked, or is it that they don't want it?
I don't care what they do. You want me to call somebody great that I don't see respond when it's time for greatness to come out.
Let me ask you this, because Dan Orlovsky was on the show, and he had said essentially they should blow it up. They should get rid of Dak. They should get rid of Mike McCarthy. Where were you on that?
Well, I don't. That's a bit much. Like if you go and get one of these guys that we consider elite, then yeah, you blow it up and get rid of Dak. Here's my problem when we had this conversation about Dallas, though, because it's so polarizing that people forget that you actually got to put 11 on each side of the ball.
Speak to your point, but to speak to your point, that's what the real problem is. Because, you got a salary cap in the NFL. And so the real problem is these quarterbacks, what they're getting paid and what they take away in terms of your ability to surround them with the pieces that they need. Because some cats don't deserve. You got a whole bunch of cats. If you look at star quarterbacks, I'm talking about star quarterbacks in the National Football League. You're really only talking about, when you talk about cats that can get it done, you're really talking about 3 to 4.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. But everybody get paid. When Daniel Jones get $160 million.
Yeah.
You know who did it, though? The Kansas City Chiefs. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning. That team is well built. That is the contrast between them, obviously Patrick Mahomes, but between them and the Dallas Cowboys. When we talk about the distinction, they built correctly around Patrick Mahomes, who is getting paid.
Let me ask you a question, because we're talking about Pat Mahomes in a different stratosphere. If the Dallas Cowboys had Patrick Mahomes against the Green Bay Packers, they didn't lose in that game. Come on, man. So
you can say that about any team in the NFL.
This is my point, though. This is my point. You are saying we're close, but you don't have a great player at the most important position. So you close. You haven't got out of beyond the divisional round.
Well, it goes worse than that. It gets worse than that because it's not even about Dak Prescott not being great. You have members of I was saying this. Remember, everybody showed up for the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight, for the Dallas Cowboys. They all came here. As a matter of fact, they probably jinxed Errol Spence. That's probably why he got his ass the way he did, because they all showed up, okay? And so the point that I'm making is they were all there. I'm telling you, everybody that was speaking to the Cowboys, they were hyped, they were ready. They believed in themselves, except for when it came to their quarterback, they hoped. Yeah. They didn't expect. They expected with everything else, but when it came to their quarterback, it was hope. Okay. There was trepidation because when a big moment arrives, you didn't know what he was going to do.